All right. And just like that, we are live on a Tuesday night for Talk Time with TJ, Triple T, number 212, January 20th, 2026. I want to welcome everybody. Uh, Looking good. Here we are in the middle of Mother Nature running her thermometer like a yo-yo. Yeah, but we're doing all right. For those of you out on YouTube land, I could say, hi, Mom. Up in Minnesota with a rough week of weather coming up. Going to have about 6 days straight where the warmest it will be is 0. And going to be a couple of days where the high is going to be in the negative double digits.
Gotta love it. It's
So,
winter.
for
It
those
happens
of
every
you,
time this year. This time of year, it always happens.
yeah, right? So, for those of you in YouTube land, while you're stuck indoors trying to make sure that you don't freeze the littles off, yes, somebody's happy their team is doing well. But for those of
New
you
England
that
Patriots.
stuck
I was like,
inside
I
trying
thought
to
the
keep
Bills
warm,
lost. Sorry, TJ, I interrupted
it's
you.
okay.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's registering as the Bills in my head, and that's why I'm so confused. And then now it made sense. Patriots.
We're back.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're gonna try and keep going here. For those that are stuck indoors trying to keep from freezing body parts off, while you're indoors, spend a little time on YouTube and do all the YouTube stuff. That doesn't cost you anything. Click the subscribe and the like button and ring the bell and watch some of the other videos. We got 211 of them. There's going to be 212 of them here pretty soon. Go through and see how many you can click like on and leave some comments and then comment some more, and I'd appreciate that. Let's see what else. I got a website I'd also like you to check out, www.thetSWB.com. THETSWB.com. The tall, skinny white boy. That is he is I, and I am him, and it's been that way since way before the internet. So if you find anything else that says TSWB and it is not me, then that is something else. And you probably don't even have to go there. But on there you'll find a couple of, more than a few things about me. If you go to the About Me page and go down to the little white block that says click here for the PDF for a little more information, you'll get a PDF of pretty much all the stuff I've done, some of my certifications, some of the classes that I teach, the professions I've been part of, and it's only about six pages long. So that is how I got here today. And I also offer a free, that's right, no charge to you, 30-minute consultation. It's your opportunity. Get a hold of me. We'll set up a time and see what's going on with you. If there's challenges you're up against, things you want to improve, things you would like to learn, looking for advice on certain things that you saw on my website that interested you, then ask me. And if I feel like I've got the ability to help you, I'll let you know. But if I feel we're not a good fit, I will also let you know, because I want you to get the change you're looking for. And I'll also help you try to find the right person to get that change. On to the next. It's time to introduce the tie of the week. Been doing this since the first episode of 24. So, here's a couple of characters I know you guys will obviously recognize.
Super cute.
Uh-huh.
You see Milo, can recognize them a mile away, I should say.
Got a little poo on my tie, and that's okay.
Who's your spirit animal? Pooh or Tigger?
What's that?
So who's your spirit animal? Pooh or Tigger?
Yes, is the
Eeyore.
answer.
Okay, okay, yeah.
All right. Oh, bother. And if you're new to Triple T, I'll give you a little rundown how it works here. It's a 2-hour show. First hour, I do my best to try and get through 3 topics that I've chosen this week. And when that hour is up, regardless of how many topics I've made it through, it's time to switch gears and it becomes open platform, open mic. Anybody on the call can ask a question, bring up a topic, and I let the people on the call answer first because I also like to learn. And after everybody's given their answers, if I feel I still have something to add, that's when I put in my 2 centavos. Yes, my 2 centavos. And we do that until we're out of time on the second hour. So, another way we like to start off the show is seeing if anybody's got anything cool or groovy or ahas, downloads, epiphanies, cool stuff to share from their life from the last 7 days since we got together. So, anybody got some cool stuff to share with the world? Lenora.
You do?
I do.
Yes. You are speaking at a conference this weekend that
Yes.
happens to be online. And I also get to speak at a conference this weekend that happens to be online. So we'll post that
Hey.
in the chat.
Yeah.
And banana peels. Oh, if she comes on tonight or her tomorrow, it is Fran's birthday this week.
All right.
I know.
Hopefully she'll be able to join us. I would love to wish her
Hopefully,
happy
yes.
birthday. She deserves it.
Hopefully, yes.
So yes, we are on a what would you call that? Online
It's an ICBCH.
seminar. Yeah, ICBH training. It's like
Conference.
Hypno Thoughts Live and
Internationally. Yeah.
yes. So not too late to sign up to take the classes. There's going to be a lot of really good presenters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm presenting on the 25th from 4 to 5 Central Standard Time.
I'm going to post it in the chat, and I will also post it on your YouTube.
Cool.
So that way everybody can see it. And also, yes, the website has been updated to say what we wanted to say.
Yeah.
And I think that's all the news that's fit to print.
Cool.
I might have interrupted your YouTube entrance, which I apologize to your mom if I did, because I might have interrupted you saying hello to her. So
No,
sorry, TJ's mom. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That part I got in. And Mark had some good news for if you're a sports fan, and if you like the Patriots. If you don't, well, better luck next year.
Yeah. We get into the AFC title game, and if we win that, all the auguries seem to be in place for another trip to the Super Bowl. Team we're playing lost its quarterback in the second to last play of the game. We're playing in Denver, so we're already favorites as far as Vegas is concerned. So that, I finally got the Christmas tree down, as you can see over my shirt. That was an accomplishment last Sunday. So, and it's still in the room. It's still in the box. I got to get it out to the garage. But I ran across an interesting quote during the week, which is, a good thing to do, and, something to. It says, a bee doesn't waste its time trying to convince a fly that honey tastes better than shit.
Yes.
Because that would be a waste of time.
Yes. And yet, it doesn't matter how many facts you give the fly.
Right.
Fly doesn't care about that.
The bee doesn't waste its time to do that.
Yeah, but it's also a direct representation of values and criteria. Mm-hmm. To the fly, the fly couldn't convince the bee that wonderful steaming pile of dung is better than the honeycomb. Perspective.
Don't try to waste time trying to talk people out of their beliefs, I guess.
Yes. Unless they contacted you for that specific reason and they want to pay you. All right. Well, guess it's time to get on with the show. Just in time, Mike, joining us. Good to see you again, my friend. And we also got Renee on there and Mr. V joining us. Appreciate that. But it is time to get on with the show and the topics for the week. 24, worrying and notice. Starting it off, 24. Well, 24 means a lot of things to different people. Back in the day, 24, if I remember right, NASCAR was, wasn't that Gordon? I'm sure if I'm wrong, somebody out there is already starting to type, so correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm fine with that. But this reference is something that is universal, everybody has, and that is 24 hours in a day. And it's amazing how different 24 hours means to different people. There are some people that somehow manage to cram 3 days worth of work into a 24-hour period. And there are also some people that manage to cram 3 days of lazy into a 24-hour period. And I think we've all by this time we've all witnessed at least one of them. I'm somewhere in between. There are days when my 24 hours goes by much quicker than my task abilities do. And there are other days when I just seem to be on point, in the groove, in the flow, all the above. And I get to the end of the day and I'm like, how did I get that much stuff done? How did that to-do list shrink so much quicker than the other days? The other part that I want to throw at it is how people wake up and look at their upcoming 24 hours. And when you start thinking about that, when does your day start? When does your 24 hours start? And I think that's part of the change, the solution, the attitude. I know some people, their tomorrow starts just before they go to bed, because they're already taking the time planning out what their day tomorrow is going to look like. And we've talked about this a number of times, doing favors for your tomorrow person, like making the coffee, setting out the cups and everything, so that it's figuring out what your outfit's going to be for the next day, having that all set out, so that when you wake up in the morning, you're not into immediate, coffee, oh, gotta make the coffee, now I gotta wait for the coffee. Oh, coffee takes very long to make when you don't make it when you don't set it up the night before. I know. There have been a few times that I got sidetracked in my nightly or my daily routine and forgot to set up the coffee. And I came out into the kitchen area and went, something's missing. I don't smell my coffee. Oh! Coffee is not made. Oh! Then I got to make the coffee half awake and wait and wait. And whoever designed the coffee makers, that when you pull the pot out, it stops the flow, so you can cheat and get that first cup before the whole thing is made. Oh! All joking aside, though, when you start getting into the habit of doing those little things to set up your day, how much easier does your day go? And yet, the number of people that I talk to and clients that I bring this stuff up to at certain ages, and they're like, well, I never thought of that. I'm like, I know. That's why you need people in your tribe that do these things. Mark.
I was going to say that, waking up with that coffee smell, permeating the environment, I think is one of the nicest things to wake up to. It's like, oh, okay. I'm in like Flynn, Jordan Peterson talks about, making your bed first thing in the morning. So no matter how your day goes, when you come home, you've done at least one thing today that can, make you, you can go, oh, my bed, the world may be going to crap, but my bed's made,
Yeah.
I used to teach a class for people with disabilities, and one of the modules was about work skills. And they showed these little vignettes, these videos of two roommates. One, starts the night before. He made his lunch. He was ironing his uniform, his shirt. His roommate was sitting there watching the football game, and just not taking any care of himself. He was in a beanbag chair, and he was munching on munchies, and the other guy made it, polished his shoes and had his entire outfit ready for the next day. And then they show them when they get up in the morning, that guy's asleep in the beanbag chair. The other guy's all dressed and nice, and he went left, and the other guy woke up and ran to the bus, and he missed the bus. And then when he got to work, he was still wearing the same clothes. They were all stained with soda, and he looked like he again, he had slept in his clothes, and and the boss sent him home. He's like, I can't have you here. Again, bad, bad karma to not be prepared to work. So they were showing, the yin and the yang about a good work ethic starts the night before.
Felix and Oscar, the odd couple. Yes. And it seems like such trivial stuff until you start doing it and realizing the changes that it makes, even in your posture. I'm the one that I enjoy doing the dishes in the morning. That's part of my routine. Is I get up and I like to get the coffee prepped the night before, and when I get up after I've had my coffee, I do the dishes, make the bed, get everything ready, and that just helps me get my day going. And on the days where I know that I have much more stuff packed into my 24 hours than normal, I've learned to start planning even more the night before. Getting my clothes ready, getting all the stuff ready for the shower and everything. And if I know I'm not going to have time to get around to them, sometimes I will do the dishes the night before. I like a clean house. Lenora.
I think it's really important to recognize as you're doing it, and even saying it out loud, I'm the type of person that because and maybe this is just perchance me, especially with how much or how loud of an inner critic I've had in the past, that even though I was doing all those things, it didn't look like something else that I thought. And so therefore I would automatically discount it, like, oh, it wasn't good enough, or yeah, so of course I'm going to do that. Like, duh, it just makes sense to do that. So like sarcastically brushing it off, but recognizing to yourself. And the best way that I could probably explain it is to just notice it and recognize that you're the type of person, not you're the type of person, you're the type of person, and hold that as a standard for yourself. I'm the type of person that does X, Y, and Z each day. I'm the type of person that prepares my coffee, or I'm the type of person that gets up early because that's important to me. I'm the type of person that makes my bed because I like taking care of things. And there was a period of time where I started to walk around my entire house saying, I'm the type of person that not just cares for my house, but can take care of my house, rather than thinking the way that I was as a teenager of like, I have to do chores, like, oh, I have to dust, or oh, I have to clean the bathroom, and going, oh, I do this because this is important to me. It's important to keep a clean house. So really even changing the narrative in your head of like, oh, I have to clean for company. Oh, I get to clean my house because I get to host company, and recognizing it. And rather than seeing somebody on social media going, oh, they're just doing X, Y, and Z, like, yeah, oh, they're so much better than me. No, they're not. Stop judging yourself and start allowing yourself to recognize all that you really do.
Do.
You do for yourself. Do.
Yes.
Do.
Mark.
Yeah, again, you've helped me with that, that future self. And when I get up in the morning and the coffee maker's all ready to go, because I took the time the night before, I was like, thank you, past self, So I do that, almost every morning. And it's like, and again, having that 24 hours, like I said, I get up before the wife, and and I can I can get a lot of stuff done before she's even out of bed because I get up at like, between 5:30 and 6 every morning. And, I get to look around and a long time ago, I installed a habit by doing it enough. And the habit is any room I walk into, it's got to look a little bit neater when I
Yes.
leave.
Yep.
Pick up something, move something, align something.
That is a great
It's
one.
not OCD, but I made up this belief that any room I walk into, when I walk out of it, it's got to be just a tiny bit neater.
I love that.
Good
Leave
feeling.
it better than when you found it. Yeah,
Yeah.
1000%.
So again, our house is by no means, I would describe it as comfortably shabby after living in it 40 years. But there are certain things that need to be done. The trash needs to be emptied. You know, the laundry needs, I can do a load of laundry and, get that started for the day and then come back later, throw it in the dryer. All these little things that this sense of control and, again, and making, you know, putting a jacket away. Like I put away a bunch of, um, you know, uh, prepping for making sure that the snow shovel and the ice melt is ready to go for, the next winter storm. So,
Yes.
you know, little things, tiny things that, not running around like a chicken with my head cut off because I'm, I've got time. And I always had that time, but I didn't know I had, but then when I can just sit and scroll, for a little while, I don't feel guilty about it.
Yes. And that segues right into the other part of why I used this for a topic today is also what are you going to decide your attitude is going to be in the 24 hours? If somebody gets on your nerves, are you going to decide to hang on to that or are you going to decide early, my 24 hours, this upcoming 24 hours is mine? And Wayne Dyer said this, and it popped in my head today when I was working with my client. That's, as you know, where I get a lot of these topics. He even went so far as to change the greeting on his voicemail on his phone, and it said something to the effect. Of course, it's been a while since I've heard this, but it's the effect of, "Thank you for calling me, but I want you to know that I choose to have a good day. And so if what you are calling about will not help me have a good day, please don't leave a message." And I went, "That's hilarious." And then I went, "That's brilliant." Lenora.
I have two things to add to that. I love Wayne Dyer. May he rest in peace. He was so lovely, and all his audios are so wonderful to listen to. I used to have a friend who would say, "Have the day you choose to have."
Yes.
And because I would say, "Have a good day," and he goes, "Have the day you choose to have." It's like, oh, wow.
Yes.
And oh, banana peels. There was something else that you were just talking about. Oh, bananas.
Well,
Oh, back. Okay. I don't think, at least to me, when you find yourself in a really good, what I would consider like a really good stretch of time of feeling good, feel like they're going the direction that you want. I'm very, very into writing down what's going on. Like, what am I doing? What else is contributing to this? And finding how you got there. And I know Fran was once who had said, like, make a running list of all the things that can get you in a better mood at any point in time. And the reason I think that is because when you're not in a good mood, when you're not feeling or you feel off, you definitely know it, and it's much easier. So if you're,
Yes.
especially if us lovely people have talked about this for a number of times, and we continue to raise our awareness of where we are in our day. And if you think back to, I used to be like, oh gosh, that month was so good, it'll never come around again. Versus, no, that was a really good month. Or like, those were really good few set of weeks. What was I doing? I recognize that I might not be in a great space right now. What can I do to raise my awareness, to raise my frequency, my energy, my vibration, my attitude, and paying attention to the things that are pulling you down or making you feel less than, or not feeling like you're good enough, or whatever it is, whatever's coming up. Pay attention to that, because they're like signs. They might as well be like do going past you, and it's something to focus on, as in, how can you shift it? How can you maneuver it to the best of your ability? Or how can you maneuver yourself to an even better space to deal with whatever it is in a more effective way?
100%. That's the importance of having not only the foresight, the attitude, the doing the favor for your future self. Because, like you said, oftentimes when you slip down into that dirty funk, it's really hard to come up with the escape ladder. And recognizing and having something like that ahead, set up ahead of time, is kind of like, I know there's holes around here, and so I'm just going to put a pocket ladder in me. So when I fall in the hole, I just reach in and grab my back utility belt, and then climb up the ladder. And I really like that. Have the day. How was that? Have the day you
choose to have.
Have the day you choose to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and choose to have is a very important part of that right there. What type of day do you want to have? And we've talked about this before. The people like, oh, yesterday I had a terrible day. The whole day sucked. Well, what happened? Well, in the morning I tipped over my milk. And what else? Well, that was it. Well, how long did you tipped over your milk for the whole day? I mean, like, you walked around and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't control my milk. I'm everywhere I go for 8 hours straight. I tipped milk. Well, no. Well, how long did it last? Including tipping it and cleaning it up, it took what, 3 minutes out of your day, and then you milked the rest of the day complaining about it. Fell in that hole and had to swim around in the muck. Mark.
Yeah, someone once said, when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging.
Amen. Yes. And so many people will fall down there and just have to dig deeper for the whole woe is me effect.
Well, I had the opportunity to help a buddy of mine, and today I had free time, so I'd done a bunch of stuff earlier, and I had a little free time, so I stopped into my friend, and he was just going out down the street to get something, and so I'll walk with you. So it was only a couple doors down. We walked in there. I stayed by the counter. He went back, got what he needed, came up to and he for whatever reason he started having a panic attack, and I was there for him. And he says, "Hey, can you buy this for me? I gotta go." And I'm like, "Okay." That was a little weird, And he had to exit the store we were in, and so I bought the thing that he wanted to get. And then I walked back to his store, and I walked in, and you know, and then I found out that, what had happened is he had an anxiety attack. So I had a few minutes, so I taught him, a breathing technique that I use with clients to stop an anxiety attack. And I had just enough time to do that, and then, the phone rang, and I had to get back to the office. So, but if I hadn't done all that stuff earlier, I wouldn't have had the time to stop by and see my friend, and serendipity. I was there at
What
the right
perfect
time to
timing.
help him. Again, all life is about timing, you
Yep.
know. So,
Anywhere, anytime, for any reason.
mhm. One of your mantras,
Yep.
So, and I uh, you can consume yourself with worry, and I think that he's been under a lot of
Good way
stress
to
lately.
say
So I think that was he was on the edge, and I don't know what triggered him, and I didn't care, but
Yep.
I was able to jump in and give him a little you know give him a little boost out of that hole he was in.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely. Good job,
mhm.
Lenora.
For as much as I rag on the movie The Secret, there was one scene I think he said, you step out of bed and you step on an extension cord and you think, my whole day is ruined. And that one really stuck with me, which is hilarious because talk about a vivid picture or something that I've definitely experienced. So it definitely stuck with me even more. But stuff like that, when people and I also really was kind of in the environment of not just woe is me, misery loves company, that you would tell something to somebody and they would say something else. And then almost like then you had to feed off of the other person, like make the story even worse or like make the situation even worse or like, oh, at least we're miserable and now we're angry together. And but I didn't realize at the time how drama filling it was. And it really was things that people are taught. So the more stuff that we pay attention to, and this is why I think it's really important to pay attention to what you watch on social media or what you watch in the movies, because they can feed what you sort for unintentionally. So the more dramatic things that you get involved in, especially if you go to a workplace where I used to work in a hospital or I used to work in a skilled setting where it was very easy to get wrapped in drama because you'd go to the nurse's station and there would be a whole squabble of da 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 going on. And paying attention to how you feel when you're with people and then when you leave people is something that is so, so, so helpful because it really will continue to guide and set up your day. And just like, people who might eat cleanly and then find themselves like overeating during the holidays or something, and you're like, "Ugh, I just feel like icky, or I just feel like, ugh, it just doesn't feel good. I'm not used to eating all of this like sugary stuff." You know how good you want to feel. Same situation. When you walk away from toxic people or dramatic people or people who are feeding this drama, like worst case scenario, you know how you feel when you walk away. Pay attention to it. And it's not a judgment thing. It really is I get to care about myself so much. I'm in charge of this version of me, and I want to care about this version of me so, so much that if this person isn't making me feel good, I'm going to do what I can to not just protect myself, but take care of myself. Sometimes when we say protect, we might think like verse, no, I really care. There's a big standard here. I don't, just for me, no judgment. I don't drink Coca-Cola. I don't drink soda anymore. I used to love it. And then I stopped drinking it. I don't drink it because it just doesn't fit with where I like to drink my beverages. I tend to be more of a water person. That's the same exact thing. Paying attention to the people that you surround yourselves and paying attention to the things that we do on our phone on a regular basis are so important. And unfortunately, the algorithm knows what to give you.
Yes.
And it's not always helpful.
Yeah.
I'll offer one
And
quick sentence.
again, that's choosing your 24 hours. how do you want to feel at the beginning and at the end, and how are you going to protect that and move forward? Mark.
Yeah, yes, sir. Again, I had again. Sometimes people, like I said, they feed on drama and they try to do the one-upmanship.
Mm.
Oh, you think that's bad? Oh, well, you should be, you should have my life. You should, deal with what I'm dealing with. You know, it's almost like they compete, especially
Yes.
old people. With maladies. You know,
Yep.
and but you have the power. We all have the power. Us in particular, us, our group, to change that. And there's a little NLP thing I learned a long time ago that you just walk up to someone and smile, shake their hand, put your hand on their shoulder. It causes a little bit of reset, and it's like, you know, have a nice day, and then
Yep.
you say and walk away. Keep the change, and for whatever reason, oxytocin or whatever, they're like, that was weird. I feel better. I have no idea why.
Right.
But you just walk up to them with a smile and have a nice day, you
Yeah.
know, and then you walk away and you give them the keep the change, and they have no idea what you did, but they feel better. Like that was weird. I feel
Yep.
better. I don't know why, but I do. So you have that, we all have that power to improve somebody's day, to get them to get out of that, oh, that word just eluded me. That get off that treadmill of worrying,
Yes.
bounce them out of that.
And actually, we're at 42 minutes into the hour. I'm going to use this opportunity to segue right off of the word you just said because the second topic is worrying. And I may or may not be, well, I'm not, I know some people who are Olympic quality worriers. I mean, if worrying was an Olympic sport, gold medal. And yet, when I ask them, how much has the worrying changed the outcome? And what has it done for you? And worrying, I've explained to a number of people, is living in the future in a worst case scenario. Very few people sit there and worry about best case scenario. Very few people ever have anxiety attacks over how good things are going to go. It's the worst case scenario recording on loop, and what a lot of my clients find is when they stop putting so much energy into worrying about what could go wrong, not only do they have more energy to put into solutions and what could go right, they actually physically feel better because the act of worry consumes so much energy. And yeah, Mark put in the comments catastrophe loops. Yes. One of my favorite quotes is I've wasted so much energy and time worrying about 100 things that could go wrong, 99 of which never happened. And the one that did was nothing. I survived. And yet I see so many people doing this and worrying about other things, and God bless mamas out there worrying about their kids, and I get that, but at some point you have to understand that the kids learn lessons much deeper, much stronger when they make the mistakes themselves. Now, there are certain things that are worth worrying about. If you find out that the kid's going to be going into the worst part of a really bad part of town on a bad night, dressed up looking like they're looking for trouble, yeah, you can worry about what could happen. But to constantly worry about things that are out of your control, completely out of your control, you're better off investing that energy into prayer, wishing them the best, sending them good energy, a mantra that states that your family will be protected and healthy and all the above. That's still living in the future, but with a much better energy, much better outcome. Yeah, I've seen some people that they get all proud. Well, when I worry about stuff, it usually comes true, and that's why I get to worry about it, because I'm a professional worrier, and I can tell you what's going to happen wrong, and when it happens wrong, you darn well bet I'm going to let you know that that's exactly what I expected. Well, good for you. Yay, you're an Olympic warrior. I'm the opposite. I try to be an Olympic optimist.
That is a great way to explain you.
Because,
very accurate.
Yeah, and I love when I'm right. Hey, it went right. Yay, just like I said. It went right again. Yay, just like I said. Well, you always like being right. Well, why wouldn't I? I'm right that it turned out for the best. I'm right that it turned out good. I'm right that the food turned out good. I'm right that the vacation went well. I'm right that the car didn't die on vacation. I'm right that when we showed up, the hotel had a room waiting for us and it didn't smell like dead animal. Yay! I'm glad I'm right. But that's also where I came up with my quote that you guys have heard many times. In the quantum of possibilities, best case scenario has just as much probability as worst case scenario. The one that you see the most is the one that you look for and feed the most energy to. And Olympic warriors will be very happy when they get their reward that things went sideways, that it didn't work out. I told you that I wasn't going to get a parking spot. Yeah? What about me? Well, you're always so lucky. You just always get a parking spot. That's because I show up expecting the parking spot. When I enter the parking lot, I'm like, I'm going to have a great parking. And I've, I don't know how many times I've had friends and family in the car, and the parking lot is packed. And they're like, oh my God, we're never going to find a parking spot. Oh, and I'm like, challenge accepted. We're going to have a great parking spot. And I will drive straight up to the front. I'll even park. Well, there was one right there. I know, but there's a better one. And I go straight up to the, oh, look at there, right in front of the door. You're so lucky. Well, am I? In the quantum of possibilities, best case scenario had just as much probability as what you came up with. I was just looking for the best case scenario, and I fed it as much energy as I could. And boop, there it is. Just by luck. Mark.
Yeah, I started asking, this was several years ago, and I started, men and women tend to worry differently, or again, I started so I started asking ladies in my role as a counselor, and just outside, I just would ask them casually. So I got a question for you. What do you worry about? And with very little reframe, they all gave me the same answer. Everything. I said, when do you worry about it? All the time. And I had one woman in like 2 or 3 years of asking that question that she's, I don't worry about anything. I said, really? I said, okay. I said, what about your family? Well, I'm concerned about them. What about your career? What do you, well, yeah, I'm concerned about them. I said, what about your health? Well, I'm concerned about that too. I said, what are you concerned about all those things? Oh, all the time. So somewhere in her past, the word worry became a bad word, so she just replaced it with concern. There was one outlier in 3 years. Okay. But women don't think we worry. We do. Men do worry. But we only worry about this, the next thing. And then when that disappears, we worry about the next thing. And then, so we don't worry about everything, globally. We just worry about the next thing. Yes. And, yes, ladies, we do worry, and we do, but we only worry about what's right in front of our nose. So, and I've found that to be, again, true enough to be true. So, but that's seems to be a universal constant of a difference between men and women. At least that's what I found in asking, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of ladies, what do you worry about? And getting the same answer back.
Well spoken, well said, and yes, agree. I agree. Yes.
Renee, you are welcome to chime in here. I personally believe that we are taught to worry, and it's often passed to us like a plate of cookies, and you then don't know any other way of being. So it has taken a very long time, and as TJ is one of my coaches, he can attest to the fact that it's taken quite a while to get me to the level that I am in the not worrying realm. Adding to that, in my attempt to, I don't think it's worry. My friend Stacy, who was also one of my coaches at the time, she said it best. I triage my worries, and I deal with what is the most critical at that moment, and I try to work on it right then and there. When it comes to not worrying, yeah, there was a study I think that recently came out that men were put under some sort of circumstance of what it was like to be a woman for 2 weeks, and I don't think they made it past like day 5. So, oh, good. Renee's gonna chime in. I'm gonna pause while Renee chimes in here. Go for it, Renee.
Well,
okay.
I feel like part of it's more biology than anything else. I mean, the reality is that we are, typically speaking, the weaker sex, and then we're raising children. And so we have to assess all possible dangers. And since we don't have the ability to necessarily overpower the danger, we need to predict it so we can avoid it before it happens. So
You can tell which one of us has children and which one doesn't. Well said, Renee. I support you.
well, no, but and I don't have kids. I have fur babies and
Okay.
feathered babies, but I think that's it though. It's like trying to be 3 or 4 steps ahead. And so instead of worrying, thinking of it as assessing possible dangers. Like my husband's driving drives me nuts. He always waits for the last minute to do anything. Where I'm assessing all of the traffic around me and going, okay, we've got a mile to go. This is a nice opening. This, risk is low. And now would be a good time to go. Where he doesn't care. He'll cut off people and drive me nuts and make me pull out my hair. So I maybe not think of it as worrying, maybe assessing risk. And I think women are a lot better at doing that than men. So.
Well shared, Renee. I'm glad you popped on. Thank you.
Yeah. And yet I do have male clients who are beating themselves up with worry, doing their darndest to compete with you ladies for the gold medal of Olympic worrying, until I start asking them, okay, let's review last week. Of all the things that you worried about happening, how many of them came true? And the look on their face is like, what are you worried about next week? And it's interesting when I ask those 2 questions in that order, all of a sudden it becomes much harder for them to answer what they're going to be worried about next week, because they're still trying to figure out what wins they had from this last week of worry. Yay! And speaking of worry, we were mildly worried that our beautiful friend would not be able to join us tonight, because we all wanted to say, what are we saying?
Happy almost
birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tomorrow is the day, and I'm really delighted. Thank you.
And because we're in the
29
US,
again.
we're 2 days in advance.
Oh, yes, you're 2 days in advance. I'm only got it.
And that's okay. We appreciate you so much. And I was worried that we wouldn't get to jump on and wish you a very, very happy birthday. So, much as love is.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Welcome. And that worrying got shut off just before the top of the hour. And once again, we barely made it through 2 topics. So, for those of you that are new to Triple T, this is where we switch gears. Second hour is open mic, open platform, and anybody can join in, ask a question, bring up a topic. And, sorry, inside jokes going on. So time to start the hour off. Who's got a question or a topic for the group? Mark and Renee, and good. We got some activity.
Well, I have a question. Actually, it's just an inquiry. I was watching this podcast about the new AI that Google put out, Willow, and this is a little tough. There's a little bit of here I have to explain. And they asked Willow about the structure of the universe, and they asked it 3 times. The first time it came back with a bunch of stuff they didn't understand. There was symbols but embedded in that was like prime numbers. The second time it came back with a whole bunch of Fibonacci numbers. And then the third time it became a little clear when they did the analysis is that the entire universe is like a system, like a sim. And it went on to describe, that when systems get big enough, like if computer systems are big enough, that they have to develop these things called error correcting codes. It's like a little algorithm, and the universe has these, according to Willow, to make sure that the whole thing doesn't unravel. So this reality, and Neil, whatever, DeGracio there, he said that there's a 50-50 chance we're living in a simulation. So it has all these codes. But I had this argument with this physicist today, and he said, down at the subatomic, down where quantum realities, there's so much chaos and things bumping into each other. There really can't be any self-error correcting codes because it's too small. But when you get into larger systems, you get these error correcting codes, these little algorithms that keep things on track. And then I had this insight, and they said, wow, I think human beings are, sufficiently enough sophisticated that we have error correcting algorithms that jump, at certain, especially when we're younger, we have these things ready to keep our bodies, our lives, our health on track. And it was just in the view of, health. And we don't call it, error correcting codes. We call it healing. Okay, and I wanted everybody's input on the fact that human beings have these error correcting codes. Keeps us on track so we encounter a virus and our system leaps into excuse me, to correct the system, to bring it back online, and I think like I said, I've been playing with that in my head. Excuse me. That these little algorithms that we call healing, mind healing, body, but just healing, they keep us, they make sure that we don't unravel, basically. And I just thought of it's a fascinating concept. And so do we have error correcting codes?
Good question. Who's got an answer?
Something else? Sorry. That's my question.
I think that's our business with hypnosis, and we continuously creating and generating error correcting codes. So maybe we are little error correcting codes in what we do.
I love that answer, Fran.
We activate the algorithms, those error correcting codes that, we help other people to heal by, showing them that the answers are inside of them, so.
Yeah. Renee.
I completely agree with Fran. I think most people are in an infinite loop. If we're going with programming code, we're just stuck going around and around, and it requires somebody else to step in to provide the interrupt and kind of divert us from another path. I think that's why most people go and seek help, right? Is because they can't get themselves onto the correct path. Or they don't have the skills to.
Yep. I agree.
Or the objectivity. You need objectivity
Yes.
to really do a good job. Trying to do it for yourself, it's wonderful. Sometimes it's great, but sometimes you need the objectivity when, especially with a big issue, because it's really hard to be subject and therapist at the same time.
I agree with all of this, and if I can, anybody else got an answer before I jump in and throw in my two centavos? I think we're definitely on the right track with all of these answers, including what Mark said about the healing. You cut yourself or you injure yourself, and the self-correcting code goes in there and goes, yeah, okay, we put that together. But that would be, I would say, a self-correcting code for the hardware. But the self-correcting code for the software often requires a little more outside influence. And you can read the books, and you can watch the stuff and learn about stuff like Wayne Dyer and those guys, and then you can do so much before you realize that being the driver and the passenger of the bus at the same time gets a little tricky beyond our pay grade, and you're like, yeah, I've been trying, but and so that's when you reach out for people like us. And I think that's one of the fun things. People that know me, that know me well, know that I just love fixing stuff. Have since I was just a kid. That when Lillian Pearl Bridges did her Golden Path class and looked at my stuff, and she was like, easy, entertainer, fix it guy. That's it. You just like to entertain and make people smile and happy and fix stuff. I said, yep. And so I love that way of thinking about it with the error correcting code. Anybody else got anything to add to that? Lenora.
As somebody who loves language, I love the humans have error correcting codes, and I love the idea of us being in the space to help people correct the codes that they don't necessarily feel that they want or need any longer. So thank you for sharing that, Mark. That is absolutely awesome.
Fran.
I'm going to throw spanners in the works now. I mean, sometimes our error correction codes get overzealous, and we get things like autoimmune diseases, cytokine cascades with infection clearing up. And I want to throw in another one about my theory of chaos, that it's order, but on a really, really big scale. So can I ask other people's perspective on whether they can even think that might be interesting?
Yeah, this is your guys' hour, so could you repeat the question? I missed part of it.
All right. I wonder whether other people are interested in the idea that chaos isn't actually totally random, that chaos is just order on a very, very large scale. Does that compute with people?
Great question. Who's got an answer for that? Lenora.
I'm going to try and show you this. And I love and this is immediately what came to mind. It says order, and it's a branch, like a pine tree branch. And then it says chaos, and it looks completely organized in this picture. I can send it to you on your phone. Okay. And I just think that is such a beautiful idea, because if you think about it, and especially from all the things that we love to study, we love to learn about, and we love to have perspectives on and read about and even grow through. Think about how much we do not know. Think about how much is in play right now that we don't know. And this whole empty space that we call space, what's really in it? Like there's just so many things that we don't know. And then I find it hilarious to think about something like ridiculous. I can't even go into a level of ridiculous, but like I have a puppy and this thing has, Renee, in case you're wondering, this thing has consumed my brain and it's not in a healthy way. Like think about like when you're obsessing over like a dog, like we got to pull some things back. We got to step away and we got to refine ourselves. But think about that. Like there's chaos. Of course you're going to have chaos. It's a puppy that doesn't speak your language at all. And you're trying to train it, Lenora. Like chill the hell out. Yes. I agree with you, Fran. Completely.
Great answer. Who else has got? Mark.
Yeah, I was something you mentioned triggered a squirrel. And sometimes, like I said, those error correcting codes, sorry to bounce back to that, but you mentioned autoimmune disease. Well, if these are little algorithms that are, that we're not even aware of, that are running in the background, like you said, you don't have to consciously heal a cut, okay? But even those algorithms, those error correcting, they could get corrupted, they could get, they could be, could say infected, with some bad code. And that's when the normal body's, immune system doesn't have, the ability to correct it, so maybe autoimmune disease is something that, because that piece of the programming we're not even aware of has been corrupted, and that's maybe why we get, health problems, and they're not self-correcting. We don't just get well. So I don't know. When you said autoimmune, that's where my brain went. But yeah, like I said, order and chaos, and they're opposing, but they can also be, again, order, is regularity, but it can lead to stagnation. Chaos is somewhat, unpredictable, but it can lead to creativity. So we need both order and chaos operating within the system.
Great answer. Greg.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My thought is that isn't much chaos or most chaos just a perception, a judgment of what our conditioned minds and egos are are saying about any particular thing going on a lot of times, right? And maybe the proof of that is what first appears that chaos actually can be rewarding if you just hang in there and see what's going on and see what's there for you, perhaps, maybe it's not as chaotic as we first think, maybe. Or maybe we are creating more chaos in the perceived chaos going on out there. We're creating even more of it rather than go, okay, wait a minute. This may seem a little chaotic right now at first, but let me dig into this and see what's going on, see what's there for me.
If I may throw an example real quick, Fran. Chaos and that again comes down to perspective. If you've ever looked at a beehive,
yeah, like that,
but you're not a bee, that looks very chaotic.
Yep.
And the bee is like, it's another day at the office. Here we go. So.
And look what they accomplish. What the chaos looks like to us, but look at what they accomplish right there. Not just collecting honey and feeding themselves, but pollinating, right? And whatever else they're doing that we're not aware of, just by them being out there in existence, right? Yeah.
Fran.
I wish you hadn't said the pollinating thing, because my humor keeps on jumping up with when I'm really cranky with people. I'd like to say things like, go forth and pollinate yourself. But now I've lost my own track. I wanted to point out that within the error codes, the bodily, when we get code that's not gone to plan, this is very much where our error code adjustments come in, because we can not always reprogram the unconscious mind so it will deal with physical problems, including diseases and cancers. Sometimes, not always, we're as successful as we would like to be, or there's reasons we don't know that we haven't managed to tackle to change that, or maybe the person's got a reason for what's going on.
That's what makes what we do, I think, rewarding and challenging and frustrating. Because the wins will fool you into thinking that you've got it all figured out. The losses make you realize that you are not the master. And the ones that bounce up and down make you go, what am I missing? What is the you have some people that this protocol knocked it out of the park, just like that. Another person shows up with the same presenting problem, same presenting issue, and this doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and then this kind of worked. And yeah, and see your Mark put in there, sometimes with hypnosis we get the conscious mind out of the way so the mind can heal. And yet we find at the end of the day, we're still dealing with humans in their natural environment. And you don't know what else is hiding in the shadows pulling the strings. Fran.
And sometimes what appear to be the worst mistakes are actually the best things that could happen to you, because they're real wake-up calls. And very often with cancers, if people are, it's a real wake-up call and you're on the wrong track, or there's something missing, or you're not addressing something. And if people actually are able to really rethink what's important to them, these are the ones that can often make really good recoveries.
Well, and that's why Ken Gusso's protocol of near-death experience through hypnosis works so well. Because, man, if you died, that is the unplug reset of the human mind. You're just like, did you shut it off and turn it back on? Well, that worked.
Or like a computer game, having another life and just going over. Same thing. And
so to reference the first topic of the day with 24, I think for some people, when you get to a certain point and you look at the 24 hours that you have in the day, not the next 24 years or the next 24 months or the next 24 weeks, but you simply chunk it down to 24 hours. How do I want to feel about this 24 hours coming up? What do I want to feel at the end of the 24 hours? Do I want to feel accomplished? Do I want to feel happy? Do I want to feel content? Do I want to feel grateful? Do I want to feel authentic? Do I want to feel like I'm on track? Do I want to feel like my life is chaos or order, regardless of what's happening around me? Fran, you're in some of the hard part of, you know, when you're dealing with people whose lives are in total chaos, house is burning, life is changing at a rapid rate, and you guys have to show up and still be chaos of, we got to get this figured out, we got to get this solved, we got to get this taken care of right now. And then after all that, what do you do after the chaos?
That's the big one.
Yeah.
It's
Celebrate.
restructuring. Yeah. And a new beginning very often. I know it's devastating at the time, but it is a new opportunity, but not everybody feels ready to embrace a new opportunity. And chaos is handy if you're bored.
And be with you real quick, Mark, but my wife witnessed this and I witnessed this many times with the major fires that have gone through, and you've seen it too, Fran. You know, in California, when my wife was city manager of Poway, they had a major fire come through and just communities toast, gone. Well, that's about as close as a near-death experience as I think I would. That's got to rank right up there. Like everything we owned is now ash. And you see some people that just absolutely cannot recover from that, and other ones that can walk up to it and go, plot twist, left turn. Let's go. Mark.
You know, I again, friends mentioned, you know, her involvement with the, you know, the fire, well, you know, the fire department, and you know, a lot of times when, you know, you had mentioned, and I'm like, okay, well, she's the fire person when the when the structure's going up in flames, she's the one who shows up and goes, okay, what are we gonna do now? You know, so her predilection to get involved with the you know, the people that do that on a regular basis could be how she identifies herself, you know, as the fire person. Put out the flames, start, you know, okay, now what's left of the structure? How do we rebuild?
I think some people can embrace okay, plan A didn't work. Now we have to go to plan B, and if plan B doesn't work, then you have to go to plan C. Everybody's got such different characteristics and needs. Some people absolutely hate change.
Yeah.
There's somebody I know who did lose their house in a fire recently, who's really, really struggling with changing their life. They've lost everything, but they don't know how to change. With other people, we've got our lives. We are so lucky, and they can move on. But, and it's like the clients we meet. Some people want your help, but aren't prepared to make the change.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're spot on. I've seen all of it. And what do you chalk it up to? Mindset, past history, training from family, friends, tribe, all the above, and yet you can watch two people that grew up in the same situations, everything, and when the house crumbles, one is like you said, like, okay, let's go, and the other one is sitting there, just they can't get the motor going again. They are just locked in that situation. And I've witnessed all of it. And that's probably why I was drawn to this profession. You know, people hear some of the stuff that I've survived and they're like, how? And I guess I was just the kind of like, because it happened. It is not happening to me anymore. The house is not burning anymore. It burned. It is ashes, and I can go back and look at where it was, or I can just simply go, don't have it anymore. Time to find another one. Fran.
Well, it's basically how we deal with traumas and clients with traumas, isn't it? That the thing has happened, and our job is to try and help them put it in the past,
Yes.
and move on. But some people are less willing to let it go.
Yes. And not just put it in the past. Put it in the past and keep whatever lessons you got from it, but leave the rest of the ashes there. Bring the blueprint of what the house looked like so you can build it again, but don't try and build it out of the old burned sticks. Mark.
Yeah, I think, what something Fran said triggered the thought that, again, the, thing I've known is that people resist change because they get this, they're going along and they come across this thing called change. And, and, um, you know, they don't know what they're going to be on the other side of this thing called change. And I think that's why people resist change or they fear change because they don't know if they're going to be them on the other side of this impediment called change. So I think, that's why I think most people resist change. And I think they don't embrace it. Some people embrace change, but some people, they fear it because they don't know they're going to be them on the other side of this, this challenge called change.
Exactly. Fran.
That's so interesting, Mark, because it's the death of who you were. And
Sure.
all life energy resists giving up its life force. And so giving up who you used to be can be really challenging for so many people. That was a great point, Mark.
Well, and how challenging must it be for the caterpillar? Oh my goodness, I just have this weird urge that I just need to hang from this limb and dress myself up in a hard case, and what change must be going through inside of that hard little case.
sometimes you just got to turn to mush before you can reinvent yourself.
And what's the other lesson we get from the butterflies? Got to do it on your own. Too many people learn the hard way. They see the butterfly trying to get out of the cocoon, and they go to help it, and the butterfly dies. It can't fly. In the struggle to get out of there and get its wings untucked, and that's how the blood gets into the wings and makes them work. When they remove the cocoon for the butterfly, the blood never fills up the wings properly, and it dies. Yeah, Mark, we work with the resistance for people to change and evolve. Yeah. And for the people that think that you come to us and we just go, change, and everything's better. Well, that would be wonderful. If I ever figure out how to do that, I'm charging more, because I charge by the minute. I wouldn't be able to pay my bills, but I'd sure be happy because there'd be a lot of changed people. But it does take work on both sides. You know, they've got to make the decision, A, that they don't want to be who they are anymore. They have to make the decision that they're going to find somebody that can help them get past being who they don't want to be. And then they have to make all of the payments for the change. And it's not just monetary. It's putting the work in. It's making the decision each day until the old habit is gone. The new habits are who they are. Fran.
Well, it is a risky thing, making changes. If you take examples of people who've lost a lot of weight, it actually changes their world completely. It changes all their relationships. Yeah. And consequently, you're not only messing with who you used to be, but you're messing with your whole life, because everybody treats you differently and you treat them differently. So it isn't a small thing, giving up who you are. And you can really understand, when you look at that side of things, why people might be reluctant. A lot of relationships break up if one of the partners loses a lot of weight and the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
Because, it changes the dynamics of everything.
And a squirrel just reminded me that can be part of the challenge about going back home when you've left and you've changed. Because the people that knew you are expecting you to show back up. And when you show up as somebody else, it can be a challenge for everybody involved. Well, what do you mean you're not that person anymore? What do you mean you don't do that anymore? What do you mean you don't like to party like that? What do you mean you don't eat this stuff anymore? What do you mean you don't stay out till 4 a.m? And a lot of times it's hard for them to give up that person.
Particularly family.
Yes. Yep. And that's one of the things that I've found that I have to kind of help my clients with, in understanding when you really put in the work into yourself, you are probably most likely going to end up having to build a new tribe and reteach your family who you are and how to accept you. And Mike put in the comments, and being able to be strong enough for the tests that you will have to endure. And they are coming. They will. Because who are you now? Who is this person in this meat suit that we've always known? And Dr. David Snyder called it frame wars. Whoever holds the frame long enough wins. This is who I am now. Well, we don't like that person. Well, tough. This is who I am. And tomorrow I'm probably going to be somebody else different because I've decided I'm not going to be static anymore. And right back to chaos. They see it as chaos and you see it as journey, as I am on a path. I am going to be changing.
As evolution.
Yes. And yet, if you tell them that you're going to college to become a doctor, when you start acting like a doctor, they don't give you near the flack as if you went somewhere else and decided you don't want to be that rebel partier anymore. Or if you made mistakes in your past and they want to hold you to those mistakes of who you were. So
it's a lot easier to make the changes if you can smile and laugh with people. If you can get them smiling and laughing, the period and level of resistance is much less.
Yes. And sometimes you have to move away long enough for them to go, well, you've been gone for quite a while. You're different. Yes, I am. And this is who I am. Versus having to see them daily while you're trying to change into that person and they keep dragging you and pulling you back, going, hey, you're getting a little weird. You gotta stay in this box we built you, this nice little box. So, anybody else got any input, ahas, epiphanies on that? Good topics. Oh, Lenora put a yes. Who do you think you are? Apparently, not the person you think I am, and I like the person who I am. So maybe you got to think differently about who you think I am. Because I am what I am. And that's all that I am. Mark.
Yeah, I was just thinking about working with people with OCD, and they want everything the same, day after day, week after week. They don't embrace change. So our job is to get them to embrace change. So we have to flip the turtle on its, So and when we get them to accept the concept that if change is the constant that you're seeking, all their OCD stuff, or a lot of it goes away, because everything changes, everything evolves, everything, the universe, everything in it is constantly changing. So when change becomes they accept the constant of change, okay, a lot of their OCD stuff goes away because they're seeking constancy, and they're, and you give them a paradigm where change becomes the constant.
Yes. Yes. Great one.
Thank you.
And there was a quick comment put in there about getting a puppy is a major change, and Lenora agreed, which my squirrels ran up and said, that's also an identity change, which if people it's so funny. People get to a point in their life where they're thinking, well, I've always been this way. I haven't gone through any identity changes in my entire life. I've always been me. But the answer is no, not actually. Because when you think about the identity changes that you've gone through your entire life, you're born and you think your parents are God. Then you get a little bit older and then you realize your parents aren't God, you're God. And then you get a little bit older and you realize you're not God, your parents aren't God, who's God? But I'm a teenager and I'm going to be me because I know everything. And then if your parents don't kill you and you graduate high school and you get out on your own, you realize that you don't know quite as much as you thought you know. And then if you meet somebody and you decide that, hey, you look like a person I should be with for a long time, and you get married, now your identity has changed. And if you guys get busy and create a little human identity change, because now you're a parent, and if something pops up and the parents don't stick together, now your identity is changed again, because now you're a single adult with or without a child. If you do stick together, but the kids all grow up and you get through all the ages of you're God, you're not God, they're God, and all of a sudden they know everything, and then they leave, and now you're an empty nester, identity change. Or how many different jobs that you've had in your lifetime that have changed your identity. And all of this to point out, our identities are constantly changing. They're constantly getting that little tweak. They're getting that little addition that here we are in identity 2026.1. So if that's constantly changing, why do we fight change so much? If you were to have somebody go back and take this concept and write down every identity change they can identify, how many might it be? I already went through this exercise not too long ago, and the results are posted on my website on the About Me tab. 6 pages long. I wrote down each individual profession that I've been a part of, some of the certifications that I've gotten, which is an identity change because you've learned something. You're given a piece of wallpaper that says, yes, you've learned this. You get some paper, identity change or identity enhancer. And so again, when you start thinking about this, why are we so afraid of change? Fran?
Well, you've given me a paddock full of squirrels now.
Whee! Squirrel.
And hopefully a new topic or a segue into another topic. It's about change and the change that we can create in our clients with our techniques, and how about 20 minutes after a good change, amnesia occurs. That change amnesia occurs. And I mean, it's just that it's a large change. And as you were pointing out, that we change every moment of every day. That's the definition of life. If we were stagnant, if we didn't change, we would be dead.
Yes.
So all our memories are constantly changing, and because we are in the center of the change, we don't notice that the goalposts have moved. It's only people outside of us that actually notice the change. And with clients that you're doing big change work with, I always try and remember, I don't always remember, to do a SUDS check about where they are now, what value they have on their goals, and then to get them immediately afterwards to write down the changes that they've experienced. Because 20 minutes after, if they read their SUDS pre-session list, they're amazed. It actually reminds them of how different they are now, which means you've done a great job, but your client might not realize that you've done a great job because the changes integrated so perfectly that they don't even realize they're a completely different person to who they were an hour or so ago.
And to tag on to that, that's why I have my clients also take a photograph of their face, a couple of different angles of their face, because if you've studied anything about Chinese face reading, and no, that's not reading the faces of people who are Chinese. The amount of clients that I've had that we've gone in, we've cleared up a bunch of stuff, helped them with identity change, and then I say, now do the same amount of selfies, different angles, make different faces, scrunch up your face and get those wrinkles that you think you hate and all that stuff. And they compare them and they're like, my face is different. Yes, we call it hypnotic facelift. And it's just one more little subtlety that you don't have to say, now you're changed. They can hold the pictures side by side. And they can try to make this face again, but it's not there anymore. I know some people are like, and for those of you out in YouTube land going, there's a book by Lillian Pearl Bridges for Chinese facial reading that I highly recommend. One of these days I'm going to put on a page on my website that'll have books, so you can just go there and look them up and be able to reference them easier. But it is this one right here. Except it doesn't come with my name on it. You gotta, that's custom order. But yeah, great stuff. Teaches you all sorts of things, and I will let you know if you're going to start delving into this. Oh, once you turn that switch on, there's no shutting it off. Right, Mom? Mom will tell you. She was staying with us for a while, and we had one of the classes coming up online. So I told Mom, well, you're taking the class. And she was like, oh, no, I don't want the camera on it. And I went, it's paid for, sit down. And 3/4 of the way through the first day, Mom's a full-blown rock star. And one of the things that I introduced to Dr. David's class when he was teaching this stuff was, we used to bring up pictures of celebrities because you think you know them. No. So I would say, bring pictures of families and friends. because you know their history, you know their personalities, you know things about them. And when you start studying this, it unlocks the faces that you know so well. And pretty soon it's like, oh, look at, oh yeah, oh, look at, oh yes, and oh, and look at your father's, oh yeah, right there, right, yes. And it validates that training so much quicker. But it also is a self-diagnostic. I know, because there have been times when I've been very frustrated and I go and I look in the mirror and I can see my level of frustration and I can see other things in my face that have shown up, and I know that I need to take care of so I can make that line go away again. Anybody got anything to add to that? I know a couple of you have had a little exposure to face reading. Mark.
Yeah, again, I haven't been trained in it, but some stories that Dr. David has, said, he read my face, and I had a little line here or here from the something in the past, and something he said during class was when you resolve the trauma, the line goes away.
Yes.
Because you get into the habit of, showing the world that trauma with that line, and the longer the line is, the longer you've been carrying it around. But when you resolve it, just a crazy thing. The line goes away.
Yes.
So that's what I remember.
Fran.
Now, how do you find a line that needs to be attended to and actually target that one? How do you do it?
Oh, slippery slope, deep dive. Oh, yes, we have fun. There are certain lines that you look for, like sorrow lines, which will start in the inner cantha of the eye and they'll run down the cheek. And some of these lines will only show up for a split second while you're talking. If you get somebody talking about something that a lost love, and that lost love line will pop, and that's where I've caught a number of people. They'll be talking about something, and I'm watching their face for micro expressions and these lines and things, and I'll go, ooh, that had some weight to it. What happened? And there's a good chance there's going to be an instant abreaction. Because if it had that much intention, that much energy in it, something that can cause a line like that, or a line across here, or some across here, or like my suspended bazooka here, there's something in there. And when I got to meet Lillian Pearl Bridges and her assistant Kelly, when they walked in, I had my back turned to them. I heard them walk in. I turned around and they were like right here, and both of them went, "Oh, look at his face." Good thing I'm open-minded and had been around the industry long enough to go, okay, I'll play. And Lillian said, "Do you know anything about this stuff?" I said, "No." She goes, would you like to know what we saw?" And I went, well, yeah, of course. And they proceeded to tell me things about my life as though they grew up with me. And of course, I'm like, Okay, I'm sold. Let's get the class rolling because that was cool. I want to know how to do this. And Dr. David invited them because he saw the capacity to be able to use this in a therapeutic environment by knowing what to look for. And I've got like 80% of the stuff on my face that they teach. I mean, I know this is all handsome and everything, but I've got transition lines, that's these that shoot up to the sides. I've got lesson lines through my 20s. I've got impatience line. I've got a suspended, Lillian said it normally it's like a suspended needle or a suspended sword, but mine is a suspended bazooka. That was her labeling. I've got some mania lines here, which is from overthinking. I've got intuition lines or BS detectors here. Purpose lines, that's these. So, yeah, they had a fun time with using mine. But you can look at somebody who comes in with a lot of impatience lines in their eyebrow area. And if they're having issues with some knuckleheads at work, you might want to take a little look into why they have impatience challenges and clear some of that up, and then suddenly things change at work. So that was the Reader's Digest of the Reader's Digest version of how some of this stuff works. And for you ladies, these lines, these crow's feet, they're not bad. That is a really good thing to have. Those are happiness lines. Those are really good things. These right here, these that you try to get Botox to fill in and stuff like that, and these you get those are purpose lines. Those are really good to have. Fran has amazing purpose lines, and I love watching you smile because your face tells me that you do know how to laugh and enjoy life when you get the opportunity.
I was thinking the same thing about her, DJ.
Huh?
I was thinking the same thing about Fran.
Hmm? And I don't know if do I have it up here? There's a book by Chase Hughes called The 6-Minute X-Ray that also delves into a lot of that stuff. So there's a couple of new reads for you guys. Any super quick comments, because we are within seconds of the end of the show. Any ahas, epiphanies, comments? Other than thank you for showing up again for Triple T number 212. And just like that, Fran lost her squirrel. We've all had that. It's like, squirrel, he's right. Where'd he go? Yes, I know. So, thank you again. As always, every time I put these numbers up, that blows my mind. 212. Couldn't have done it with you guys, without you guys. So Thank you for constantly showing up and giving up your precious commodity of time. I know you've heard it 200 and some times. I haven't figured out how to reproduce time and give it back to you. So thank you for offering it up here on this platform. I love you all. Please have an amazing week. Fran, happy birthday. Thank you for coming on our show on your birthday week. I hope your birthday week is absolutely amazing because we love you so much and you are amazing. And for everybody else, YouTube, love you, Mom. And I love the rest of you guys. Hope to see you back here in 7 glorious days. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, TJ.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Go Patriots.
Thank you, Guillermo.
There are pictures up there. Does that mean? Oops.
What?
You there?
Yeah.
Oh. If there are pictures up there, that means they're still on the Zoom thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm
That's
just
what.
your picture now, it's not live.
Well, that's if you shut your camera off, you can still watch it.